All right. So here we go. Yeah, again, I don't think we've ever reacted to a This Week in Star Citizen, but this is where we're at right now. This is where we're at with Star Citizen, boys. This Week in Star Citizen is content now. The results are in. John Cruz pick. A ship challenge has ended, so it was RSI. That would have been my second choice from Argo, but I think my first choice still would have been Drake if it was an option. I bet if Drake was an option, it wins. But then they talk about Alpha 318. The moment after I posted Week in Review, basically the moment they came out with this update, I thought about waiting because I was already a little bit late, but yeah, I didn't want to wait forever. And these guys aren't exactly like the best at being on time with the posts each week. Like they don't come out at the same time every week. They're usually not like pre-written or whatever it feels like, especially when they're going to drop some fairly large news like this. So they said for our next major update, Alpha 318 has begun testing with our Evo Kadi group. And it's like kind of like has begun testing. Test has proven successful in narrowing down the hurdles that needed to be tackled before we open this patch to a wider PTU. And we want to give you all a special thanks to those who hopped in. That's interesting wording as well, because the idea of Evo was used to narrow down the hurdles before opening it to a wider PTU. Like, is the next patch going to be a wider PTU? Kind of curious on that wording there. That would be really interesting because that would be an incredibly short Evo Kadi. And yeah, that would be awesome. I think that would be a really nice way to do it, is use Evo to nail down the little issues. And then the actual patches are, your Evo and your like, I still think this is terrible, but Wave 1, in case you guys don't know, is only Evo Kadi members, someone who spent more than $1,000 on Star Citizen, no testing requirements possible, and subscribers. That's it. No one else. That is still your Wave 1 for Star Citizen in PTU. Kind of crazy. In a previous roadmap roundup, we shared that Alpha 318 is targeting a November first half release just ahead of this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is their big ship sale. So they were putting onus on the ship sale first and the patch second at that moment. Okay? After more consideration, which I don't know about you guys, took me about 20 seconds to consider, it's now taken them a few weeks, especially when evaluating the data from our recent Evo Kadi test. We have decided to spend just a few more weeks and target early December for a live release instead. This change will not impact the IAE, which will now release in Alpha 3.17.4. This will all be reflected in our next roadmap update on October 26th, but we wanted to communicate early. We greatly appreciate your patience as we continue to march forward towards getting one of our largest technical hurdles out the door and into your hands. As always, we keep you updated all along the way. Obviously, it's a massive meme that we have a 3.17.4, right? Like this is like completely meme worthy. But at the same time, this is good. Like we can't sit here and go, this is a bad decision. Right? Like we've played 3.17 since April. And the issue with that is it hasn't been a great experience. It started off on the wrong foot and it never really recovered. Right? Like the entire year has essentially been a bad decision. Yes. But the idea of going, yeah, we're going to stick to our guns here. We're going to leave this in the PTU for an extended period of time. This thing may not release to live this year. There's still a possibility. And the fact that they're still communicating what their targets are, I think is really silly. Like it's the right call because they haven't even gotten it in a PTU yet. Right? But the fact that we're still here, their communication around PES from the letter from the chairman to now has not been great. It's typically sounded a lot easier to do than their than anything else, right? So yeah, it's been kind of an odd one, and yeah, but I think this is the right decision, and yeah, it's getting a little frustrating. So then let's see what's going on this week. It's Tuesday. The lore post is already out. Then Crusader Q&A, which is the Spirit Q&A, which should be pretty good. I think that they've already updated it a little bit. And then obviously no Inside Star Citizen until October 27th. So that's what, next week or 2 weeks from now. And then Friday we'll experiment with a new format for Star Citizen Live on board the only constant, the new Constellation Phoenix film set. Okay. So they're talks to team members about the new vehicles and master mode changes. Okay, nice. And trio programmers on the EUPU currently working on hull scraping and resource management. All right, so that's definitely a new format. So it doesn't sound like, I don't know, it sounds like maybe like a talk show format, like a late night talk show where they have guests come in, they talk about something, and then they have other guests come in after, talk about something else. So okay, cool. So that's what's coming this week, and I mean, this is what's not coming this week. Is Alpha 318. So, all right, not bad. Again, I think a good decision, but overall a good decision, and yeah,